The eyeballs are about that big around. When you're a giant squid, what do you eat? Anything you want.
I saw this gray cat shape coming towards me really fast.
I have no doubt in my mind that this phantom kitten is here in my home.
The female, having once mated and eaten a male, may the next day mate with and eat another.
Are animal phantoms in our midst? And why is mating a deadly game for some creatures? Animal X investigates the weird world of animal mysteries. First, down to the depths to hunt an elusive 8-armed predator, one with a razor-sharp beak.
The ocean covers 2/3 of our planet. It is a deep, dark, alien world. Somewhere in this great expanse of water is one of the most mysterious creatures of the modern age, the giant squid.
We know so much more about dinosaurs than we do about giant squid.
I believe we are going to see one of these alive. I believe it's just a matter of time and a matter of persistence.
Animal X travels to Washington and Auckland, New Zealand, to follow 2 scientists as they unravel the truth about the ocean's largest and most misunderstood sea monster. In Washington, Dr. Clyde Roper is a research zoologist at the Smithsonian Institute. On the other side of the world, in New Zealand, zoologist Dr. Ellen Forsch is also dedicated to studying the giant squid. They are both part of the great race to be the first human to see one alive.
The giant squid is very, very large, very large. By far, the largest invertebrate in the animal kingdom. It does have a tubular body with a pair of fins on it, a head with 2 huge eyeballs, 8 arms that can stretch out to perhaps 15 feet or so in total length. Each arm has 200 to 300 suction cups that it uses to capture its prey. The whole body is a locomotion machine for jet propulsion. So they are huge, they have weapons, they're powerful. We know so very little about them. For centuries and centuries, people have talked about this giant creature that made sailors and seamen fearful, and they were called a kraken. Kraken is so huge that it could reach up out of the ocean and grab the ship and pull it over on its side and eat the men. No basis in fact whatsoever.
The first ones modern science came across were in the late 1800s. When the first one turned up that I saw in 1983, there'd been a gap of some 30 to 50 years. To me, it felt like it was the first giant squid that had arrived in quite some time.
Several hundred specimens have been reported, but no one has ever seen a live giant squid. And that's really my objective. Can you imagine seeing that eyeball? Seeing that living eyeball? I mean, it is going to be magnificent.
The giant squid's massive eye is the largest known eye in the animal kingdom.
The eyeballs are about that big around, perhaps the size of a soccer ball or a human head. Why do these animals need big eyes if they live in the deep sea, in the inky blackness of the deep sea? They need them because even though it is dark, the deep sea is in fact filled with light. But it's a different kind of light. It's called bioluminescence, light produced by the animals that live there, similar to the fireflies that we see in this area in the early summer.
This incredible light source enables the giant squid to track down its prey, because like many of the mighty creatures that roam the oceans, the giant squid is a hunter.
Giant squids are built to hunt.
They use their eyesight for locating prey, and then they use the two long feeding tentacles to approach the prey and to zing out and zap the prey.
They've got over 100 suckers on each arm, and they've got 8 arms. They've got a parrot-sized beak. It's got muscles around it that are definitely designed to rip and tear.
But when you're a giant squid, what do you eat? Anything you want, because they are big enough to catch almost anything they want.
But despite its enormous size and its finely tuned ability to hunt, the giant squid still has its own enemies to contend with.
The fabled battles between giant squids and sperm whales definitely happen. No doubt about it. The scars are all over the sperm whales.
They're both huge. They're massive animals, and you can imagine these two animals fighting for survival, the sperm whale fighting for its food, the giant squid fighting to escape. A giant squid may weigh as much as 1 ton. A sperm whale will weigh 30 to 40 to 50 to 60 tons. My very strong belief is that the sperm whale always wins.
The sperm whale may be a terrifying and victorious predator, but the giant squid is a creature of great intelligence. It has found its own way to survive, evolve, and avoid any contact with man.
Their near relations, the octopus, have actually been taught things, and there's no reason to believe that squid couldn't do so as well.
For heaven's sakes, they're mollusks. They're related to snails and clams, but they are just incredibly highly evolved because they have such a highly developed brain.
Our lack of ability to catch them, I think, is probably the best indicator of their intelligence.
Even though they are intelligent, occasionally giant squid accidentally get caught up in fishing nets or washed up on beaches. New Zealand fisherman Mike Smith was out on his boat one day when something unexpected turned up in his nets. It was barely alive.
We could see that there was something meshed about halfway up the net. We could see it was leaving quite a big wash behind it. I was amazed. It was just incredible. We just couldn't believe it. We just contacted the scientists and told them we had it, and they were down within the hour to get it.
Once again, the scientists eagerly arrived to collect the dead specimen. But with all that modern technology has to offer, why can't they find the giant squid in its natural habitat?
People ask, how can you have such a huge animal, largest invertebrate ever to have lived, and not know where it lives, and not see it alive? And the answer is simple. It lives where we don't go. It lives in the deep sea. And we humans have penetrated into the deep sea in little bits and pieces. But when you think of this gigantic, the massive size of the oceans, our explorations really a minuscule tip of the iceberg.
Using cameras and research submarines, Dr. Roper and other scientists have attempted to find the giant squid. They are yet to succeed. Once believed to be a terrifying sea monster, but now seen as this century's greatest natural detective story, the giant squid is still out there, somewhere.
The giant squid, though elusive, is firmly locked in the mortal world. After the break, Animal X looks at those creatures said to be from another realm, animal phantoms.
To my astonishment, I saw a little black dog trot across the landing outside my bedroom door. I was just baffled. It looked absolutely real to me.
Welcome back to Animal X. There are many stories about human ghosts, but what about animal phantoms? Four-legged spectres said to haunt particular people and places. Time now for a little ghost busting of the furry kind.
Tales of ghosts and apparitions have been around as long as humanity has been here to tell of them. Animal X attempts to unravel the mystery of sightings of animal ghosts and asks, could they be the result of a bond so strong that it cannot be broken, even by death?
It was a very fluid feeling. Very fluid, cool, fluid feeling passing through my leg.
It may be that some people are predisposed to seeing animal ghosts.
It looked absolutely real to me.
Animal X travels to Grimsby, England, and later the United States and Australia to speak to experts and eyewitnesses of these worldwide phenomena in search of possible explanations. In 1985, Robin Furman witnessed an apparition and, as a result of this, became a parapsychologist.
One morning I was shaving. It was about 8:30. To my astonishment, I saw a little black dog trot across the landing outside my bedroom door. Now, for a moment, I thought it was our Labrador. Then I realized that the little dog I'd seen was too small. I was just baffled. Of course, when you see something like that, you always doubt yourself. You think, my goodness, I'm imagining things.
This is not the only animal ghost he has encountered.
I was going upstairs, and suddenly I saw this cat trot through the hall, disappear into the kitchen. He was certainly a phantom cat. I knew, of course, when I saw him, that he wasn't a real material cat. He was something else.
Jessica Dayermond of South Florida also claims to have been visited by animal spirits. Unlike Robin Furman, Jessica's experience is more physical. She claims she can actually feel her pet ghost.
I have a water bed, so when the cats jump on the bed, it's a distinctive sort of boing sort of feeling. And I assumed it was them, and I opened my eyes. Neither one of them's on the bed, but I can feel a cat pushing against my leg. And I felt the little sort of foot pressures on the bed and then something lying against my leg. There's no heat. It's just a pressure. There's no actual body heat. I saw this gray, definitely cat shape coming towards me really fast. And I stopped all of a sudden. I was like, oh no, I'm going to step on my cat. And I felt the cool kind of brush against my leg and ran into the room behind me. And a split second later, I realized I just shut the door. And that was when I was like, it was the cat spirit.
I have no doubt in my mind that this phantom kitten is here in my home and has been here since the day we moved in.
Judith Andrews of Perth, Western Australia, also claims to have seen a number of animal phantoms and experiences regular ghostly visits from her pet cat, Sooty.
I was looking for my key to open the front door. I just happened to hear her meow as if to say, well, let me in. And it sounded just like her. One evening when I was retiring to bed, I was standing in the bedroom and I could hear little footsteps. I could hear them approaching and I thought, gee, that sounds like a cat. When I awoke the next morning, I looked at the bedspread and there was an indentation as if she had been curled up there sleeping during the night. It was a nice warm feeling.
Dr. Vivian Cass is a psychologist with over 25 years' experience who believes that there is a rational explanation for the sightings.
Animals play such an important role in people's lives. It's not just a matter of taking them for a walk or feeding them. People really do develop a relationship with animals. There are probably several reasons why people believe that they're seeing animal ghosts. A lot of people will say that after a favourite animal has died, they will see them, a dog in the corner or a cat on the lounge. People do get used to seeing an animal around, so it becomes a habit, if you like, to just see them somewhere on the floor. And it's very easy then to just turn and see perhaps a shadow and think it's the animal because you're used to doing that. I don't think that we have to be actually thinking quite clearly about our animal for us to then suddenly catch a glimpse of them. You see, we work consciously and unconsciously. So consciously we may know my animal has died, but unconsciously we have a part of us that is, if you like, saying, I really need my animal to be here. And that can really override our rational thinking.
I feel that I probably have an openness to the possibility of spirit entities or animal spirits.
Some people say being open to seeing a ghost is the key. My experience is that it doesn't make any difference. You can be as skeptical as you like, and you'll see it, much to the disgruntlement of many people who boast of being skeptics.
It may be that some people are predisposed to seeing animal ghosts. The stronger the bond, the more likely they are to see that animal, even if the animal has died. There are some people for whom the bond with their animal will probably never be broken, even though the animal has died.
Are these people seeing what they want to see? Or are they indeed seeing an apparition? Until science comes up with concrete proof, one way or another, we will never know for sure.
I don't want to knock people who believe that they are seeing animal ghosts. For all I know, they may be. I haven't seen one, but that doesn't mean to say that animal ghosts don't exist.
Animal phantoms may frighten, but they're not deadly. After the break, Animal X looks at those creepy crawlies with a fatal attraction to their own species. A not-so-perfect match.
The male, 100% of the time, flips his abdomen up, presenting it to the female to be eaten. She just sinks her fangs in and starts feeding on him.
Welcome back. Members of the animal kingdom have their own special ways when it comes to the mating game. But for some, courtship can be a nasty, even deadly business, one where the female of the species reigns supreme.
Insects and arachnids first appeared on Earth around 400 million years ago. Today, more than 1 million species survive, making this ancient class of creatures by far the most successful to ever roam the planet. But evolutionary success isn't easy, and in a world where survival rests on the ability to reproduce, the race to procreate has created some unusual behaviour.
He's presenting himself to the female, basically saying, "Eat me, eat my abdomen."
The female, having once mated and eaten a male, may the next day mate with and eat another.
There is no behaviour that actually suggests the males will offer themselves as a meal. They will try their best to get away if they can, but the fact is that approximately 30% don't.
Animal X travels to Perth, Western Australia to investigate the bizarre evolutionary phenomena of sexual suicide amongst courting insects and arachnids. Arachnids have fascinated Dr. Mark Harvey for as long as he can remember. In his opinion, one of the most interesting is the Australian redback. Cousin to the black widow, Redback Spiders' mating habits are as deadly as their bite.
Once the courting process has been put in place and they actually start mating, the male, 100% of the time, flips his abdomen up, presenting it to the female to be eaten. She just sinks her fangs in and starts feeding on him.
Another arachnid that plays a dangerous mating game is the scorpion. Eric Volsching studies the evolution and behaviour of these ancient creatures.
The males really have to try and convince the females that they're not food. Juddering is part of the sentence or the phrase that a male will use to say, "Hey, I'm a member of your species, are you interested?" The actual act involves a series of rocking movements and sort of bobbing of the tail up and down. Getting the signal and the message and your language correct, that's the most important part for the male. If it doesn't deliver that, doesn't matter how strong he is, if the female wants a meal, she'll grab him.
Like scorpions, praying mantis males are also in trouble if their mate is hungry. Professor Wynne Bailey, an entomologist from the University of Western Australia, explains why the act of love is particularly dangerous for these insects.
The problem with the male is that once he couples his genitalia, that is a lock and key device, he doesn't have anywhere to go. Well, this is the first stage at which the female has the opportunity of attacking the male. If the female is hungry enough, she will take anything for food. And if that happens to be the male, then she will take the male.
With millions of years to perfect their performance, praying mantis males will finish copulating no matter what the circumstances.
If the male is attacked, she will obviously start feeding on the upper end, which is the head. What's curious is that if the male is eaten in this way, he will continue to pass sperm, because the organ that is used for passing sperm is controlled by small brains which are in the abdomen, not necessarily in the head. This is where we get the idea that sexual cannibalism is in some way an advantage.
Redback spiders have also evolved an ingenious system to ensure their genes are passed on.
Despite the fact that she's chomping away on his abdomen, slowly killing him, he continues to mate with her. But what he does while he's mating is when he's finished, he causes a plug to be formed over her genital opening. And this ensures that no other male can mate with that female. So he knows that even though he's died, his sperm will be used for the next generation.
But for the male scorpion, ending up as dinner is no assurance that his progeny will live.
The females will most likely try and eat anything that comes into their path. The successful males, the ones that are able to mate, are the ones that can convince the females that they are not food. The males that fail in that get eaten. Most male scorpions are slightly smaller to the females, so they do present a very tempting meal.
Whether we fully understand the mating habits of these highly evolved predators or not, insects and arachnids are amongst the longest surviving creatures to ever walk the earth. Their behaviour, though crude and brutish, is, however, clearly a formula for success.
From an enormous tentacled deep-sea predator, the giant squid, to otherworldly animals, ghostly pets, and those whose mating game is a deadly one, the mysterious tales of the animal world continue to fascinate and perplex us. After all, it's said there are stranger things in heaven and earth than we can think of. You've just seen some of them on Animal X.
He blew the horn to see if it would move, and the creature came up out of the water about 5 feet, a long neck and a big head.
It was taller than an NBA basketball player, more buff than an NFL football player, and it could have just crumbled me.
They're a group of animals that will always try and survive, but when some get into trouble, the others do.